year is a big year for y'all because you're celebrating 10 years of the Levitate Festival. I know the brand, though, has been around for double that time. So can you talk a little bit about the beginnings of just the Levitate brand?
Yeah, Levitate actually opened up back in 2003, 20 years ago now. And it was a surf shop. The intent was to kind of bring the community together. And the founder, Bob Pollard, who I had worked for at the time, that was kind of his vision, was the same mission we have today, is just bringing the community together around, creative outlets and being connected to outdoors and nature. And it started very small. It was just a surf shop. We would do little events like, little music events or a beach cleanup or these different things to bring people together. And it had this great little following kind of like right away. And it just has grown slowly ever since. And back in 2013, it was the 10-year anniversary of Levitate. So we threw what became the Levitate Music and Arts Festival.
Did you realize that at that point 10 years ago that you would continue to do this festival year after year?
When that was our first like more legitimate real concert event that we had thrown, and I don't think we had any idea what we were getting into and going into it, and it went so well that I kind of immediately had a hunch it was something that would be like around for a little number of years. People just loved it. It was really like people were just over the moon, and there wasn't really an event quite like it at the time. It's and really still not today. So it's sort of just organically grown every year through word of mouth and like, conversations like this. And it's been a really, really special thing to be a part of. And now I really think it'll be around for quite a while. I didn't know that right out of the gate, but to answer your question, no, I guess I didn't know for sure it'd be around for 10 more years, but I did know that people loved it. And if we could figure it out, we would love to do it long term.
That's awesome. I'm so glad that you guys did. It's really cool to have these types of things right here in New England, too. Because I feel like we hear about all these festivals happening around the country. But here, we have Levitate, we have Boston Calling, and that's so dope that we get to celebrate with you guys in July. In fact, it's coming up soon. It's next weekend. How are things feeling getting ready for it?
They're going really well. We're fortunate that in Marshfield, Mass. Here, there's the historic Marshfield Fairgrounds. It's been around for 153 years, and it's this cool, funky, dusty old fairgrounds, which is definitely a different sort of site for a festival. And it takes an incredible amount of work and a really big team to build it out into a festival site. But it also like gives it so much of its charm and character. And, for New Englanders, I think it feels sort of like home and a throwback festival and really down to earth. And it kind of gives it this homegrown feel for this like fun summer concert and festival based around, and, very much an arts festival as well. So we're well underway. We've been building up for over a week and a half now. And we have at least another week we're a week and a half of build up, and then next Friday at noon we open the doors up, and whatever state it's in, we're doing it.
That's it. It's happening one way or another. That's amazing. For someone who has maybe never been to Levitate before, Dan, what can they expect at the festival?
It's funny because I had not been to tons of festivals when I've been to a lot of music shows, but not a ton of festivals. So it is different than other festivals. We kind of created it, which just felt right for the area, for New England, and for the site that we're on, and just coming from a surf and skate shop. It's a very easy event to go to and attend and be part of. Parking's easy. There's tons of parking, and then you can also take a shuttle, which is almost even easier because the shuttle's out by the highway. And when you get on the shuttle, you're already ticketed, you're already scanned in, and the shuttle drops you off inside the festival site. So that's a really cool thing that we do. And it's just, it's a lot of space. There's a lot of food. There's different like areas, there's like a food area, there's a kids area, there's art, a lot of live muralists. And then there's 3 different stages. So the day goes quick, but there's also plenty of kind of areas to get away and take a break, and it's a very like down to earth, easy festival to attend.
Yes, I love that you use the word easy, because for someone like me who's in their 30s, I love to go to something like this, but it needs to be easy. I need parking to be good. It needs to be a chill day. So that sounds ideal to someone like me.
Yeah, well, yeah, I hear you. Yeah, it's not, I like those big festivals too, but it's not like, one of those, 100,000 people, and those are those are fun, but those are a different thing.
Absolutely. That's a year's worth of cardio in one weekend, if you ask me. This lineup that you have for this year is quite stacked, if you ask me, Dan. I know you got Brandy Carlisle's going to be there, some of our favorites, Ziggy Marley, Collie Buddz. Is there anyone who you're looking forward to seeing the most?
Oh, that's tough. Well, Brandy Carlisle, I mean, for sure, that was sort of a dream. We always wanted to have her,
Oh,
so we're really, really excited about that. I'm excited to see the heavy because since we booked them a year and a half ago, they've kind of been exploding. So I'm excited to see like their performance and how that is. And I've never been able to see them live. So there's like three hometown. Well, there's actually a number of hometown bands, but there's a band called Stick Figure has actually played every year. And they're a reggae band out of New England here, and they've kind of rose and rose and rose, and they kind of grew alongside Levitate. Like, and we're literally friends with them. And this year they're playing these big, sheds and stadiums across the country, and selling them all out. And they're going to come and headline our event, kick it off on Friday night. So seeing them headline will be really special. So I think everyone's really excited about that. It's just like a fun, cool story that we launched the festival when they were getting on the road, and it's worked out that they're actually headlining now.
That's awesome.
But another band called Elevators that's really exploding. There's Ripe from Boston. I love Ripe. They're going to be part of it as well. So there's a lot of bands. I honestly like every single one. I guess I'm fortunate enough to be involved in the selection of the artists, so I love them all. But yeah, Shaky Graves, I'm excited to see. I've actually never seen Shaky Graves. I don't know how that's happened. So that'll be exciting. And Goose, everyone loves Goose.
Yes, that is true. Everyone loves Goose. That's amazing, Dan. Amazing lineup, stacked. And I know that's been true throughout the years as well. So I'm curious, reminiscing over the past 10 years, are there any performances that stick out to you that have been your favorites?
Oh, that's tough. Yeah, I think it was 4 years ago. Might have been 5. Dispatch was a band I grew up with that I loved, and they hadn't been on tour in I think it was 10 years at that point, and they came back, and their first big concert in the area was Levitate Festival, and that was really amazing. Dirty Heads last year was amazing. There's Lake Street Dive over the years has been really, really special. And there's little ones too, we're having Melt back this year. Melt's really great, and last year they played earlier in the day, and we didn't totally know what to expect, and the performance was so outrageous that we moved them up to the main stage this year. And they actually played. We have a little venue called behind our retail store called Levitate Backyard, and we do music there more of all the time. Yeah. And they played there last week, and it was out of control. So I think when they get on stage, on the big stage at the festival, it's just going to be really special.
Absolutely. And I think that's really cool that you guys continue to bring back bands that you've had in the past, and you even see their growth and kind of move them up accordingly. That's got to be really special for them. I'm sure they feel connected to the festival as well.
They do, and they kind of get to know the festival itself, and the fans become their fans, and the fans, and these bands happen to be, we a lot with bands growing and fast, and it's kind of a cool, fun thing that we do. And there's always I don't know, 20% of the lineup we'll often have as returning artists.
Yes.
The same thing, we view that as a really special part of the event.
Definitely, absolutely. And what's also really special is I know a percentage of the ticket sales get donated to the Levitate Foundation. Could you talk a little bit about what that is?
So when Levitate started, the intent was to be a community-oriented, surf shop, and as it's grown into all these different things, we now have a surf shop. We have an apparel brand. We have Levitate Music Festival. We have Flannel Jam, which is a bluegrass festival. We have the Levitate Backyard, and we have the kids camps. And basically what we did was we kind of thought about how, we have a bigger platform now, and we wanted to be able to do more, I guess, with that platform from a philanthropic standpoint, and to kind of grow the concept of community in general in all communities, and specifically really, investing in celebrating the arts and the outdoors. Those are the kind of the things that we think are really important to a community, and are kind of fleeting and often pushed aside. And, we basically created this Levitate Foundation to be an organization that would celebrate the arts and the outdoors, and brought a really great small group of people together around it so far. Although next week we're having our our first ever event called the Backyard Ball, and we're going to start sharing it with people and getting them involved. We actually already started like a pilot program, and what we do is we have 1% of all the revenues from Levitate Music Festival, from Levitate Brand, Flannel Jam, Backyard, all these things, and 1% of that, those revenues, go to the foundation. And then also we kind of, lightly started telling our friends and family and vendors and like business partners about it, and everyone's getting behind it. So it could be a really, really great organization and kind of a special thing that we can help grow the arts and the outdoors and just the importance of community in general here in New England.
Absolutely. Well, I love the mission, and I love that that's actually kind of expanded to our neck of the woods up here. I'm glad you mentioned Flannel Jam because I wanted to bring that up. That is in Portland, right? That you guys do that?
Yeah. So when we launched, we're huge folk fans and bluegrass fans, and we wanted to do a kind of a little festival based around the fall in New England.
Yeah.
And we have been doing multiple stops in like different festivals in different cities. We call it Levitate Flannel Jam, and we've been doing it in Portland. We've been doing it with Main Craft Distilling and the shop right there on Washington Ave or Washington Street. I can't remember.
Washington Ave, yeah.
Washington Ave, and it's been awesome. Like, it's been so much fun, really well received. We have tons of friends in Portland, and a lot of people from Maine come to our Levitate Festival in July, so there's a lot of connections. And we love Portland. The city's awesome. Everyone loves Portland, and doing an event there has been a blast, and we'd love to get involved more so in Portland as we can, find like natural, fun ways to be involved,
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad we made this connection because we would love that here as well. Do you think there will be a Flannel Jam this fall?
There is. We're working on it now. We don't know exactly what it's going to be, but we're putting that together, and our hope would be to announce that probably in August.
Absolutely. Well, maybe we can chat again around that time too, Dan, when you announce that, because I'm sure our listeners would love to hear about it for sure.
Yeah, great.
Awesome. The giving back doesn't stop at the donation from ticket sales and all that, though, Dan. I saw that last year you had an overall recycling rate of 70%, which is an incredible number. So I'm curious, why was being eco-friendly another important part of the festival for you?
I think that it's just, again, it's just like one of those things that's like sometimes not prioritized. And we started small, it was hard. Like in the beginning, like we just would recycle cans, or whatever we could, and it felt like challenging to operate an event at that scale, especially with a tiny team, and, try to lessen our impact. But, it's the same thing. We just do it a little bit better every year. And this year we're recycling, we're composting, and banned plastic bags, banned styrofoam, banned straws. And it's so, honestly, it's funny. You got to do it incrementally, but it's sort of like, I wouldn't say it's easy, but people are happy to, if you just set the precedent and kind of like set the example, like people are happy to do it. And then they realize it's not that hard. And I think that like just being, I don't know if we're leaders beyond our festival on that, but we're definitely showing, at least to the people that attend and are, involved in the event, that it's very doable and they can do it. And hopefully they take it with them on the road,
Yes, absolutely. Well, Mother Nature thanks you, and I think that is a great connection to your mission too, since outdoors and just being outside is such a big part of what you guys do. It makes perfect sense. So love that you guys do that. That's awesome. I know a lot of effort gets put into it. So for sure. Well, last but not least, Dan, where can people learn more about the festival and where can they buy themselves some tickets?
You can learn more about the festival at levitatemusicfestival.com. And there's tickets on there. We still have single-day tickets, and we have a handful of 3-day tickets left as well, actually. But yeah, grab tickets, come check it out. It's really, really fun. It's an easy thing to check out and bring friends. It's all ages show, and it's a good, accessible, fun event.
Yeah, it seems like good vibes. I really hope I'm able to make it down next year. It seems awesome, and I hope to see you in Portland this fall as well.
Great. Thank you, Haley. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan. Great to meet you. Take care.